just how's the feeling 2 days later about just the way it all ended? And I know you spoke right after the game, but a little bit of hindsight.
Yeah.
What is it like right now?
Yeah, I think I was a little still stunned after the game. Probably a little fatigued too after all that hockey. Um, this one's gonna sting for a while, I think. As a performer, you kind of see some of those moments, and then the last series there was a million moments for both teams where an inch can make a difference. So you kind of those might haunt me for a little bit. But I think it's also balanced with a heck of a lot of pride in our group and the way that we came together over the season, and just the quality of hockey we started playing for our playoff push and into the playoffs. And I think the great story of our team this year, especially in our playoff run, is we just had so many different people step up. We've always said that we are a deep team, and to have a backup goalie come in, or not a backup, but Gwen, who hadn't played as much, come in and be the playoff MVP. Like, we've always talked about our depth. Like, wow, that's amazing to have scoring from every line. To have, with an injury on the back end, to have some of our younger D step up and play big roles. Like, to me, that's one of the special storylines of this last month.
And obviously the start of the season was kind of slow for you guys. Like, things were hard to come by, and it's got you some wins by playing some amazing hockey as well. Where do you feel, or how do you feel you guys have been able to turn things around and get into this, find your identity, or whether it's just the right combinations or the right way to play? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if there's one thing, but I think there is less space in the playoffs, and I think having experienced it now, as hard as our regular season games are with our schedule of 30 and the parity in our league, there is still a difference in playoff hockey, and I think the hard forechecking, the 200-foot game, we kind of all bought into that, and it turns out we were really quite good at playing that playoff style, taking away teams' time and space. And we saw that in spurts, I think, early in the season, just how frustrating we can be for other teams, but we couldn't find it consistently. And then we started to, I think, this last month really have that consistency in the details, the stick details, the forechecking, the block shots, all just the tiny kind of intangibles in the game. And we had everybody contributing to that.
but I guess I'm most interested in the part during the season when you started to get some wins that got you playoffs in the end. Like, is that part of what you describing as well, or?
Yeah, I think we started to see that some success in kind of playing a bit more of that style. But I also think you can't take out of the equation the other teams. Like, it's hard to win in this league, and New York is a heck of a hockey team. Like, they beat every team this year, I think, right? So it's we can look at ourselves, but you also got to give credit to the other teams. It's hard to win, and that's what makes this league, I think, really unique. Just from look at the playoff race. I mean, it's crazy that we snuck in and we were 6 points behind the first place team. That's 2 games behind the first place team, right? So, yeah, it's just it's hard to find that consistency in winning, but we were able to find it at the right time, and I think we just believed in our group. When you go through those challenges in the season, they can either kind of pull you apart or they can make you stronger. So I think in our case, it made us stronger.
And you talked about it a little bit after the game, but just how hard is it to think about the fact that either you're going to lose some teammates that I'm sure you lose very much, or
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen. There's only maybe you'll have to move to the West Coast. Like how does this whole thing
Yeah.
feel like?
We're really good at staying in the news cycle of this league right now. Yeah, it's yeah, I think it's as a player, it's it's a bit of a stressful time, but at the same time it's a really exciting that our league's at a place where it can expand and can expand where to amazing hockey markets that deserve PWHL teams. So it's a really exciting, I think, problem, I guess, for us players to have. But yeah, reflecting a lot on, especially in the last kind of 24 hours, on how special this group was. I learned a lot from every single one of my teammates this year. We had, trying to find the right words, but just a really strong spirit in the dressing room. Made you excited to come to work every day to play with these women. Yeah, I'm gonna, wherever this journey takes me, takes my teammates, this year was really special. And I know on a personal note, like, I'll cherish the memories from this season, especially with the girls and just how amazing and loving and caring they are with my family when, we have the kids at the rink. Those are some of the memories that will really stick with me. Obviously there's hockey memories too, but my kids are so lucky that they get to come here and see these women and get to be their friends and hang around them, and I don't think they realize how special that is quite yet.
And these 2 years here in Ottawa, I know you pretty much moved here permanently, I believe. If it were to be the end for you in Ottawa, you were gonna ended up getting picked up by Seattle or Vancouver, how will these 2 years be? What would you mean?
Can we pocket that question if it does ever happen?
Sure.
I don't want to cross any bridge. But I will say I love this community. My family loves this community. We made a home here, and yeah, we really, really feel grateful to be here in Ottawa.
And this community loves this team too. You guys have some diehard fans who are also worried about this expansion, what it's going to mean for their favorite players and for the team next year. Just wondering if you have any words for your fans.
I mean, I think this whole experience, these past 2 hockey seasons, even just this recent exciting playoff run we had, it wouldn't be the same without our fans. And we are so lucky that we get to play in this building in front of this fan base. And I really think our fan base, it's just really indicative of what this league's all about. They're so passionate. They're so inclusive. They're so supportive. Even times where I'm thinking I would be booing us right now, they've got our backs. They're there with us, when we don't have the performance we want, and they're there with us to celebrate it when we do. So it's a really special community, and I think all of us players feel the exact same way about it. We just, are so grateful that we get to represent this city.
This team found the winning recipe for you guys to make the push to the playoffs and then get in there and do as well as you did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a slow build, but I think it was something that we knew we had a special group, and we knew we had the right pieces to do it. It was kind of putting the puzzle pieces together and just continuing to build our game. Obviously, I think a huge part of our success to even put us in a position to end up where we did was Emirates came up huge for us at the start of the season. And we did have inconsistencies to our game, maybe not winning as much, but she kept us in it. So a huge credit to her, and then obviously Gwen taking over when Emirates went down for that final push. And at that time, I feel like we were slowly building that game, and it just kind of all came together at the right time. So yeah, I don't know if there's like a specific turning point. I think it's accumulation of a lot of little moments, but we said a couple weeks ago in the media, I think a big turning point, though, was the international break and the work that the players did that were still in Ottawa. I think that just allowed us to come out of the international break with a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, and obviously we were playing must-win hockey that week, and just felt like everything was coming together at the right time after that break.
Gwyneth said that the looming expansion draft was a big motivator for her personally. How has that figured into the playoffs and just how the team went about, the end of the season?
The expansion draft?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think every individual probably did what they want with the info. I think collectively as a team, though, we were focused on the now and the goal of winning the Walter Cup. So obviously it's hard to ignore it. It's exciting news. It's everywhere, and it's the reality that's coming up. But I think for us at the time that info was coming out, we're so close to that end goal that we're just all in on trying to win the Walter Cup.
As a foundational player here in Ottawa, could you maybe talk about the growth that this team has gone through between last season and this season, and your own growth as well?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's all gone by so fast. I mean, I'm still processing this season, let alone, the last 2 seasons have just felt like a blink now. But it's special to see the growth of not only the league, but this organization and the team. But there's so much to learn in the inaugural season. Everyone, is learning on the fly because things are coming up that you haven't experienced yet. But for us to make it to the Walter Cup finals in the second season is obviously something to be incredibly proud of. And yeah, I think as a group to be able to gain that experience, obviously the goal was to win it. But it's not a failure. You pick up the lessons you need, and when we do accomplish that goal, I think it'll be because we learned a lot along the way. Just like we did last year when we didn't make playoffs, I think for the group that was around for season 2, being able to use that as motivation and to learn from that journey to help with this journey, we'll do the same thing this season for next season.
2 days later, do you still think about some chances that you guys had in the series?
Yeah, of course. It's hard not to play shoulda, coulda, woulda, and 4 overtime games. It's hard not to think about. It's the difference of 2 shots, winning and losing the Walter Cup. But yeah, of course, when it's that close, you have some plays that keep you up at night, or you watch some video back and it's like, oh, if you pushed it here or dragged it here or inches, either way. But that's hockey, that's life. You can't go back and change it. So you got to give yourself some grace and look at what did go your way. But there's so much to be proud of. Even 2 days later, it's bittersweet for sure. It's gonna hurt for a while. It's gonna feel for a while, but yeah, it's already easy to look back now just with some time and be so grateful for everything that has happened over the last few weeks.
As Chris said, you've been a cornerstone of the franchise since day one. What would it mean to stick around in that capacity, given the role that you've played in the community?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely proud to play for this organization. Proud to have been here for the last 2 seasons. And yeah, I love Ottawa. I love being a part of the community, playing in front of the city. So yeah, you just take so much pride, and there's been a lot of growth and a lot that we've built over the last 2 seasons. So of course you want to be able to continue to, water those seeds, I guess, and see where it goes.
Are you worried that because of the draft that's coming up, that growth could be slowed down a bit?
I mean, I think it's just the reality. I think growth for the league is great. It's exciting. But obviously it's not lost on us that the reality is that there could be some big changes. But like so many different things can happen, so you just you see how it plays out. At this point, it's out of our control as players. you just see what happens, and as individuals and as organization, you're going to make the most of whatever happens.
Is there a sense that with the league expanding from 6 to 8 teams, it's just going to be that much harder to, return to the finals, given just how close you were?
Yeah, I guess that, there's 8 teams now, not 6, but I think it's going to be a tough trophy to win no matter what, even to get to the point we did. This season, it was far from easy. So, I think, we're all going to be on this learning curve together with expansion, and there's going to be a lot of new things that come with it, just like the last 2 seasons. But, the motivation is still there, and, excited for that opportunity and that grind, however it looks.
Could you also maybe talk about some of the first years on the team? Obviously the go-to is for sure Phillips, but McMahon, Sevalainen, some of the impacts that they had on the team as well.
Yeah, for sure. We had a few new faces, and every single player on this roster had an impact. I think that's what I'm most proud of our group from this season is it took every single person on our roster to get to the finals, and to be able to have that depth and to look to your left and right and just know, the talent and the people that you had in that room. But yeah, someone like Rania that I've played against for almost a decade now, to be able to play with her and see her transition, from Swedish League to North American League, I think she just flourished. She's one of the best defensemen in the world, and she has had an immediate impact, but I feel like her game just grew and grew, and she's a really special defenseman. Manon obviously was a blast to play with her for a majority of the season. She's so talented, she's so fast, she's so strong. Gwen, just unbelievable. None of us can say enough good things about Gwen, and obviously her path this season. A player like Markowski, similar, you just see their growth throughout the season, and you're so impressed and proud of them. It's not an easy league to even get to, let alone, as the season goes on, to get your feet under you the way that they did and just have the impact that they did on our team was really awesome.
I don't know if it's just the idea of or the eventual reality of losing some of your teammates, whether it's losing some teammates or having to move to the West Coast for you. How do you feel about the idea of this right now?
It's exciting for the league, but as players, there's a lot of emotions that go with it. Obviously immediately after the game, everyone's just trying to process the loss. Obviously you're sad. It's a heartbreak. You want it so bad, and you come so close, and you look around the room, and the reality is that exact group won't be together, and I think that's what makes it even harder, is we had such a special group that became a family, and to know that it'll look different, and it's hard because you have no idea what that difference is going to look like at this point, but it just makes you really grateful for the season that you did have, and knowing that expansion was coming, I think it made us all in even more, just knowing that we wanted to do that with that group.
Is there a lot of speculation going on between the players, just do you think you'll be protected, or do you think that they'll pick you or not, if you're not? How does it go when you guys talk about it?
People it's hard not to, it's fun in its own right to talk about, around the league, what you think might happen. Everyone, wants to put their GM hat on. But it's just the reality. It's a talking point, but, throughout playoffs, I think that discussion was really minimal because, like I said, we were so focused on winning the Walter Cup, and it's all coming up super quick, so we'll see how it shakes out at this point. It's out of our control, but it's only been 2 days since our final game, so we've just been enjoying our time together as a group while we're all still in Ottawa.
Okay, but nobody's necessarily walking on eggshells while this topic is brought up necessarily.
Not necessarily. I think there's a lot of feelings around it. It's for some of us, these things that come with being pro is new to us. So I think, we're all navigating it in our own way, but like I said, it's part of being pro, and I think there's been more of a focus on just being grateful for the time that we've all spent together, and at this point it's out of our control as players, so we're just enjoying our time together.
I guess to just start, how 2 days later, how do you feel about just the way the season, you guys have been just reflecting on all the work that was done to get to this point, get to the final?
Yeah, I think obviously not the way we wanted it to end. Would have loved one more game back here, raising the cup, but not everything goes the way that you want it to. There's a lot to be proud of this group and this year. Highs and lows, injuries of top players, and there's a lot that happened this year, and to be where we ended up is pretty special. That just speaks volume to the group that we have. So wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
At this point, are you able to put the highs over the lows?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's so many highs from this season, on and off the ice. Yeah, I think I've said this a lot since the game has ended, but that's the hard part about this expansion draft is no matter what, it's not going to be the same group here in Ottawa. And that's the hard part. We love each other, and we had such a special group. So really just trying to cherish these moments before people head back home and the unknown takes place.
Before we get to one more into this, I'm just curious about how do you feel about the way things have gone, the way of trajectory you had in your season? The start of the season felt like a bit of a slow start on your end, and you ended up having a huge role in the playoffs, and everyone noticing your play, especially defensively, in the first round. And I guess we should also mention the fact that Taylor Isey was out pointless for the whole final, and Erline in general didn't manage to score. So how do you feel about this kind of journey you personally went on the ice this season?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think slow start, that was a while ago, but I think no matter what, you battle through those moments and you find out what your identity of the year is going to look like, and maybe that took me a little bit longer than some others, but once I found it, I was very happy with how I played and absolutely loved who I was playing with. So I think, yeah, it's a long season, but definitely just very proud of where I ended up and doing the job that coach asked me to do.
Could you maybe expand on that just a little bit, just in regards to, obviously you're a player who's been here since day one, just maybe the growth that you've gone through personally over these 2 years, and then also the rest of the group as well?
Yeah, I think for me personally, just continuing to grow on the ice, but also off the ice. I am extremely honored to be obviously learning from the coaching staff, but also from Brianne Jenner as a leader, Emily Clark as a leader, Mash as a leader, Shai as there's just so many different characters in the locker room that I'm able to really learn from. Leadership roles, personalities, what they bring on the ice, how they approach their everyday lives to being a pro athlete. There's just been a lot of things that I've really gotten to soak up and learn from the girls in the locker room. So I feel very, very fortunate to have been able to learn from these girls the last couple of years.
How nervous are you, considering the expansion draft is already coming about 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
There's only 3 players that can be protected to start with.
Yep.
How does this whole situation make you feel right now?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a little nerves, and you could choose to be scared, but at the end of the day, it's a really cool thing for our sport and for our league to be expanding in our second year. I think that's pretty incredible. So just recognizing that, and it's what you sign up for when you become a pro. You don't know what the road's going to bring you, but just be ready for whatever's thrown at you. So I think I'm just excited for whatever's going to happen, and I truly just believe whatever happens, it's happening for a reason, and I'll find my way.
Take a look back at the playoffs. This is your first time as a group making the playoffs and going through 2 series. Can you speak to what the group went through injuries wise?
Yeah, I mean, we battled. We have so much character in this locker room and so much heart. Injuries that people faced, the heart that they had to work through it as fast as they could and really try to come back, or the support that we had for them through that while still making our playoff push. That's just the kind of locker room that we have, and the group that we have is we wanted to win it for each other, and injuries, non-injuries, we were there for each other and ready to work through it throughout the whole series. So very, very proud of our group.
Was there anything you were working through personally during the playoffs?
No, like just other lines, just trying to do my job and have fun. And I think for me the biggest thing was just battling through. Never been into a playoffs or situations like this really before, so just trying to find my way through and learn from people that have been through these situations countlessly, like LaRock, Jenner, those kind of players, and figure out how to not let those high pressure moments be high pressure moments. So that was pretty cool to experience with them.
Yeah, I think few days removed now, and I felt it then too. Like, it's definitely an honor to receive that personal accomplishment, but and I said it earlier, like, it's really a testament to the people in front of me. But all in all, like, bittersweet, I suppose. Would have liked maybe another trophy, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely still an honor to receive that award and stuff.
Did you do you feel like you deserved it? How do you feel about the way you've been playing in these playoffs?
Yeah, I think that award definitely kind of should go, like, it for a goalie to have success. The people in front of them have to be playing well, and I think we played really well, especially defensively. And so I think definitely some other people in the series could have gone to them, but I think it does kind of validate how good we were defensively. So I think that's important for my team to at least walk home knowing how good we were from the back end.
Do you still think about chances that the team miss, or goals that you allowed, or you can now think about the positive of the season?
Both. I mean, as a goalie, I'm always going to think about the one that got passed, what I could have done better. But right now, kind of just taking the remaining few days while we're still here to just appreciate each other. Sure, we'll get questions about this soon, but with the expansion draft, things are going to shake up. So just spending the time, with each other. We had a really great group this year, and we want to kind of hold that tight while we can.
What will this group would represent for you in the next years?
I mean, this was my first year pro hockey, and it was just such a great locker room, so many great leaders. I don't think I could have been on a better team to have my first year. Great environment too, not only with the team, but in the city, with the fans. So definitely going to hold on to this one really tight for a long time.
There's been things said about how the team stayed on the ice with you at the end because you had to accept this award. Can you walk us through how did this whole thing happen? Like, who is there someone in particular who made that call to say we're staying with Gwyneth?
Yeah, so I don't really watch a lot of hockey, men's or women's, to be honest. So I didn't really know what the protocol was on that kind of stuff, but I was told what was going on, that the team was waiting out there for me to get my award, which is, I think, very, very kind of the team. I think it was a hard moment for them. I tried to convince the goalie coach Pierre to let them off the ice. I didn't want to have them watch Minnesota celebrating, but they kind of shoo-shooed my idea, and they wanted to be there for me, which is kind of going back to the character in the locker room. And and again, I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times, like, that award speaks volumes about our team, so it's not really just my award.
But that was kind of unsaid. Like, everyone just agreed without necessarily saying, oh, it's not like one player raise their hand and say, oh no, we're staying with it?
Yeah, I think everyone knew what was going on, so they all want to be there for me, which I think is really kind of the team.
Looking ahead to the expansion draft, I'm just curious how you guys are sort of navigating the uncertainty, like of what your future is going to look like and of what this team's future is going to look like next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to navigate because there is so much uncertainty. Like I said, we're kind of spending the next few days just as a group relishing in the time we have left. I know personally I'm making plans, contingent plans, backup plans, just to be ready. But at the same time, I think it's exciting. It means, our league and women's hockey is growing, so kind of a double-edged sword there.
Yeah, because it's like the end of every season is obviously the end of a chapter, but this one maybe feels even more so. Right?
Almost the end of a book. Going to start the second book. Yeah, it is what it is. I think it's a good and a bad thing.
The fact that you won the MVP award and had such a strong end of the season right before the expansion draft, combined with the timing of Emirates' injury, how does that make you feel about your place on this team? Does it give you a sense of security at all?
Honestly, the expansion draft is what pushed me at the end there, because we knew this team wasn't going to look the same, and how much respect and love we had for each other. We wanted to go out with a bang. So the expansion draft, as hard as that news is what was fueling my fire. But there's just no saying what way things are going to go, and I'd love to stay in Ottawa, but I'd also never been out west, so excited for whatever the future holds. All in all, I just love to see the growth in women's hockey.
And the fact that the goaltending position is so competitive in this league, and you have close relationships with your goalie partners, what's that like, just navigating that together?
I mean, it's fun. I think I've been fortunate enough to never really have a bad relationship with any of my goalie partners, and the better the relationship, the more fun it is. You can think of it as a weird position where you're kind of all vying for the same job, but at the end of the day, if you're doing it right, you're just pushing each other, you're making each other better, and you're just kind of reinforcing that friendship and that relationship. So I'm really fortunate with the goalies that we had this year. All really great people, all really great goalies. So.
From a perspective, the start of the season for this team was not quite ideal. You guys were out of the playoffs picture for a little while there. Wins were hard to come by. At what point do you feel like things have changed and this team found their groove, found their identity thing, or just the
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had our ups and downs throughout the year, and we were kind of coming into ourselves almost around Worlds, I would think. Kind of turning a corner right before then, and I think breaking up for Worlds, we were all a little scared because we were just starting to play well. What's going to happen? And to me, coming back, seeing how hard the girls that were still here, how hard they were working, and they kept their spirits up. Like, it's got to be hard just practicing for 3 weeks, no games, only half your team. So I think, honestly, a big momentum change for us was that Worlds break, knowing how the work that the girls that were still here put in. To me, that inspired me, and I think that really helped. I think it inspired a lot of the other girls too.
You spoke about how hard the team played in front of you in the playoffs, and obviously a huge defensive effort, blocking a lot of shots and such. Can you speak about the physical toll and the injuries that were sort of going through the locker room in the playoffs?
Tons of injuries. No way around it, especially when your 3, 4, 5 game series stretches into a 5, 6, 7 game series because of overtime. But I mean, the character, again, people are battling through injuries, got people really banged up, just giving it their all for the team. Happy those girls can get checked up on now fully, get some rest, because some of them probably need it, and they've worked really hard and taken some bangs this year. So, just kind of a testament to the character in the room again, how hard they worked through those injuries.
Maybe start with maybe an opening comment, maybe Mike, about the season.
Sure. Actually, I'd like to make an opening comment. I haven't been in front of the media since our last game on Monday night. So first of all, I want to give a huge congratulations to the Minnesota Frost and winning the Walter Cup. Melissa, Ken, all the players and staff there. What an accomplishment winning back-to-back titles, and thoroughly deserved. We put up a great fight, and really proud of our players and our coaches and our staff for the effort we put forward. Obviously came up a little bit short, but again, congratulations to the Frost. They're very well-deserving champions.
Just to echo Mike's sentiments, we were obviously able to compete in an incredible final of the PWHL, chasing the Walter Cup, and my congratulations, of course, to Minnesota and their entire staff and player crew. As Mike said, to be able to win it back-to-back is really impressive, and it was a really thrilling season and series, so congrats to them. As Mike said, we've had an incredible run this year. You felt our momentum building and building as the season grew. Faced our share of adversity early, but just really stuck to what we believed was going to help us get ourselves into the playoffs and have a good run. So really appreciative of our staff and our players, our whole organization, and maybe the most sort of surreal component is just our fan base and what they were able to bring to us and how they supported us through this entire endeavor thus far. Certainly we're fighting hard to try to bring back to TD Place for Game 5, but gave it our all, and grateful for the fans that stayed with us the whole way.
Thank you. We'll open the floor.
Yeah. I guess you just mentioned like the way things have started for this team and how it ended up being. What was the key to this turnaround for you during the season, where you started to turn games like losses into wins and playing better and better? Like, what was the key to this turnaround?
It's just staying the course. You have to understand how young our team is. You know, we're not walking into an entrenched history and a foundational component. This league is young. Our franchise is young. There's, new players coming in and out. And it was just making sure that we never lost sight of trying to get better every day and trying to figure out, okay, what variable can we attack today that's going to help us be better for the next game? And, our coaching staff, we stayed true to that. Our players stuck with us through that. And you always knew if you could just get marginally better every day, you're going to find yourself on the right side of the scoreboard. And it's not like we weren't strong in the first, 15 games either. We were, but we were certainly learning a lot about ourselves and our opponents. So, I think the biggest thing was actually not overreacting to any outcome, win or loss. And it was just staying true to trying to get better. And, we got a hardworking crew here, and they put in the effort, and I think we were rewarded for it. Obviously, still had to earn it there on the last day of regular season, but we did, and we got ourselves into playoffs, and you saw the passion and the heart that our group played with. We've been doing that for really the whole season. It just started to click a little more near the end.
From your vantage point, was there anything else you might have observed that kind of explained this, the way that this?
No, I think Carla is 100% accurate. I think we all forget that we started 11 of our first 15 games on the road too, so that was a really challenging situation. And again, I think we grew coming out of that. I am a big believer that Jocelyn LaRock added a ton to our clubhouse. I think she brought a calmness and experience, and some toughness. I think that definitely helped. So I think, I'm just adding on to what Carla said, but I think there were some factors that definitely helped, and Jocelyn was one of them. And again, being at home for the 11 of the last 15 also helped.
As Bear said, do you still think about chances that the players missed on the ice or moments like that, or you can now focus on the positive things?
Well, I think for us, we've always tried to focus on the positive things. I think that's been part of our approach the whole season. You look, there wasn't a single player on that ice surface that wasn't giving it their everything in every moment to try to capitalize. We're one crossbar away from pushing it into Game 5. We're 15 seconds away in Game 2. You can't sit here and keep going down I wish or what would have. Like, at the end of the day, we poured everything we had onto that ice surface, and we just came up a little bit short. Minnesota was able to get the better of us in those overtimes. But it wasn't from a lack of effort. It wasn't from a lack of trying. So, it hurts, of course. It always stings, and it stings a little more as you marinate in it. But it's not a negative sting. It's just you just wanted it so bad for this group. You wanted these players to have this story end the way we'd hoped. But in the same breath, so incredibly proud of how we went about it, so incredibly proud of how hard they competed, that you can't wake up sad. You wake up wishing, but really proud.
How how special was this group? Because every players that passed here said the chemistry was so nice. The group was nice. How was it?
Well, I think you saw it in how we played. They played for one another. And I think, that was actually a variable as the season progressed that they got stronger and stronger at. And, being on the bench, I had the front row seat of listening to them interact with one another and the positivity amongst them and trying to elevate each other to be at their best when they got the call, when it was their turn to go on. It's an amazing thing, energy. It's really contagious, and if it's positive, it's highly contagious. If it's negative, it also is. And this group chose to make it incredibly positive, and they impacted each other really positively. So I think that's why part of their narrative is that they worked hard to become a team, and they can be incredibly proud because they truly were a team.
And Mike, do you have to think about that chemistry when you're going to make your choice to protect 3 players, or is it the 3 best?
It's a variety of factors. There's a lot of things that go into that decision. Chemistry is part of it, 100%. How they fit with their teammates, how they fit in the clubhouse, how they fit in the community. But I feel like we've put a lot of work into choosing our 3 players. Feel very comfortable about who we're going to protect. But again, there's a ton of factors that go into that decision, and chemistry is one of them, but there are a lot of other ones as well.
So you've already made your decision?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so you've already made your decision on who you'll
We've worked through it as a group. We've made our decision. We haven't told our players yet. We're going to be talking to them tomorrow at exit meetings, so we'll let them know at that point.
How long have you known what your 3 picks are going to be?
We worked on it while we were in Minnesota last couple of days.
For Carla, it seemed like both teams were getting a little bit more banged up in the final. Can you speak to the injuries and adversity that your team is going through?
Yeah, I think both teams were absolutely just doing everything they could to try to win a hockey game, and we played a ton of hockey in a very, very short amount of time. I think that was maybe a little bit of the unfortunate component, was just how jammed that final series was. These players truly didn't get much break and let their bodies recover. Of course, there's 1,000 variables that go into scheduling that I don't know of, but when you just see the players and how hard they're working and trying to find pockets of opportunity to recover them, I commend all the players on both teams for how they maintained a high level of compete too throughout all 4 games. But certainly, we faced our own set of adversity when it comes to injuries. But again, our medical staff are impressive people. They did everything they could to make sure that these gals had what they needed to be able to be out there for puck drop, and it was a gutsy effort by our group all the way through.
And Gwyneth and some other players have said that the expansion draft served as a little bit of motivation because they knew that this current group wouldn't be together for very much longer. Was that something that was said in the locker room, that was a talking point?
Certainly not from our vantage point as coaches. We recognized all the variables that were being involved and what was reality, and the expansion draft was reality. But for us, we've always just been focused on our group in that room, and we weren't looking ahead, and we just wanted to make sure that this team was equipped from a game plan perspective going into every match, and certainly try to do everything we could to help them be successful, and was so proud of how hard we competed.
And maybe we'll start with Coach, and then Mike, if you don't mind afterwards, just talk about the growth of this club year over year, the lessons, you as a coach individually as well. Just talk about the growth year over year.
Well, when you start brand new, there's only one direction to go. You're going to start to grow and you're going to start to learn. And I know after year 1, there were a lot of takeaways for all of us in this franchise. We were all new to not only the franchise, but the league and every variable involved. So, year 2, you at least came in with some knowledge base, but now we've gained more. And I think that's one of the great parts of being a part of this organization. I think Mike does an incredible job leading us this way, but we're such a growth mindset group that we're always trying to get better. So there'll be a lot of reflection opportunity for our staff and our coaches, and as an organization to try to ensure that we continue to strive to be best in class, because that's the mission we're always on. And really proud of the gains we made here from year 1 to year 2, but by no means are we going to sit back and rest on our laurels. We're going to keep going here. So there's a lot of learning opportunity ahead of us. I just might take a couple days first and then sink into that.
You obviously were at DXL Energy Center last night, the other night. What was this moment like for you from the perspective when watching Minnesota celebrating. What was that moment like?
Well, it just speaks to our group. You know, like that's the team component we talked about. They genuinely care about one another, and it was a great moment for Gwen, and she, you know, earned that award, and it's a prestigious award, and you know, our group was thrilled for her and rallied around her, and certainly wanted to share in that experience with her. Obviously, you know, the game score hindered the absolute celebration, but there isn't a player or a staff member that wasn't thrilled for Gwen and just how well she did this entire season and through playoffs. But you know, it was a no-brainer for our group once we knew that was going to happen. Very easy to stay on the ice and support her and celebrate her.
Is it very easy though, to just having to be there and watch them, you know, start to throw their hands up in the air?
You can't sign up for this sport industry and not be willing to lose. If you're going to sign up to try to win something, you have to understand then the other side of that coin is there's a chance you could lose. And I take a lot of pride, along with our group, that you're going to be a gracious loser as well, right? You can't win them all. It's part of the process. It's part of the experience. The outcome doesn't dictate the journey. And that's an important thing to remember. And I think, you know, it's obviously an outcome-based industry, but internally there's a lot more to it that you evaluate and you measure every day. And, you know, I think it was out of respect a little bit for Minnesota as well, that it's okay. Like, you have to be able to stand there and give a nod to your opponent that, you know, we went toe-to-toe with them. And they found a way, and they earned that way. But, you know, there's also a fire in us now that we want to get back there and see what we can do next season. But to me, it's an important part of being a competitor is you have to be gracious in all scenarios.
And as you said, Mike, there's meetings coming tomorrow. How have you managed so far, and how will you until these meetings manage all the emotions that come surrounding the expansion draft?
I don't
a lot of players are nervous about what could happen to them.
Yeah, I don't think we'll manage them. I think we'll live in the moment, and you know, if there's emotions tomorrow, I think that's a great sign of how passionate these players are about playing in Ottawa, and they want to stay here. So we won't manage the emotions. We'll obviously understand and be empathetic to them. It's going to be a tough day. I'm sure of it. Not looking forward to some of the conversations, but I also understand that this is a great moment for this league. The fact that we have 2 new franchises, the fact that fans in Seattle and Vancouver get to see the sport that we all love and enjoy the product the same way we do. And so, you know, there's 46 new jobs for players. So I think I'm trying to focus on the benefits and the upside of expansion. Obviously, tomorrow will be a difficult day. I completely understand that players are losing friends and teammates. But again, I'm trying to think of the positive side of where this league has come over the last 2 years.
How are you feeling about the future of the league? Given, sounds like some decisions have been made, but given the variables that are still at play, like how are you feeling about next season?
I feel great. Like, again, if you'd asked Carla and I, we've been in this 2 years now. If you'd asked us 2 years ago that we would be at this point where we're already expanding, we're going on the road and playing games in Edmonton where we have 20,000 fans, I don't think any of us would have expected that. So the fact that it's happened this quickly is, you know, it's a testament to these athletes. Again, we know it. We've been watching it for a while, but for the average fan to see the skill and the athleticism, the compete levels, I think it speaks volume to our sport and to our game, and I'm really excited about the future.
Some of the biggest contributors during the season and the playoff run were acquired through some bold trades and acquisitions. Is it a little bit frustrating that some of those key contributors could be plucked away or will be plucked away in the expansion draft?
I'll be honest, not really. I think for us, it's, again, this is what happens when you see growth in a league and you have success, and you know, it's the nature of the beast, and every team's going to be going through it over the next 6 or 7 days. And so again, no regrets at all. Happy with what we've accomplished. Happy to have made the finals and put up a great fight, but definitely not disappointed about losing players. It is what it is.
More questions?
Thanks to you guys too for all your following us and sharing our story. I said from the start, you know, you can't get the story out to people if there's not you guys as the caveat. So again, every day Every day we answered questions. It was so great. So I just appreciate the investment, not only from our fan base, but from you guys too, to share our story. So thank you for that, and hope you have a nice summer.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, expansion wouldn't be happening without you guys sharing our stories.
Yeah.
So we're very, very grateful.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Okay.